Welcome back to Furious Driving and the Volvo. I'm Matt and I've bought too many cars. It's an addiction, what can I say? Right, I know a lot of people are really keen to see this thing cleaned and polished, and I'm one of them. People have even emailed to say or commented to say, can they do it? Sorry, no, because I'm looking forward to doing that. But before I get into cleaning this thing, I want to make sure it is as good underneath as I think / hope it is. Because so far I've only found one little tiny hole just down here on the chassis rail. So I've got the welder out, got the jacks out, have a quick look at that, sort of go through other snagging list that I've already found with this car. So there's a few problems I want to get on top of, then once I know it's good to go, then we'll hit cleaning in the next video. Right, now, hopefully this welder still works, because if you remember the last time I welded anything, it was at red Hyundai, and it was in a monsoon. And this may have invalidated its warranty. Right, this is the first time I've taken anything off this car. I've driven it every single day this week because it's really, really nice to drive, despite the pretty horrible weather. So I probably should have checked the oil and water and spark plugs and that kind of stuff. But I did notice that these are quite unusual hubcaps in that they've got a centerpiece. So I'm using a trim removal tool from my trim removal set to mark anything, to remove this little cap here, because these hubcaps are a delight. And this is the first time I've taken a wheel off this car. You're seeing it for reals. And then that pops off like that, which is kind of unusual. So I'll put this somewhere safe. This does have a full toolkit in the boot. But one thing I can't find is the wheel brace, which is odd. Well, I haven't had a proper look yet. I found the jack, and I found the rather nice little roll of Volvo tools. Let's loosen these off before I jack it. Surprisingly not that tight. I wonder if that's why the tyre's balding on the edge, not because the tracking's out, because it's falling off. Now this is a very heavy car, so I'm very glad I've got this Draper 3-ton jack and a Draper 3,000 kilo axle stand as well, so at least I'm not going to have such a risk of a car falling on me. I'm not going to be using the low angle aspect of this jack, which is incredibly useful, but this monster of a thing is going to be under here, and I'm so grateful I've got it. Thank you, Draper, for making this thing possible. I'll find a nice solid point on the chassis rail. If you haven't seen me using this jack before, it's got this fantastic foot plate at the back of it, which means you can position it, and while you're positioning it, you can just hold on to the little grip at the back and pump it up and down, or pump it up anyway, really easily. And we've got a nice solid bit of chassis rail just back from the hole in it. There we go, and up it goes. 3 tons high lift, bada bing. Handbrake's on, it's in gear. I'll go and chock it in a minute as well. Now this tyre is a Federal, which actually isn't too bad of a tyre, but it looks a little bit old because there's a bit of cracking in the tread, and it is wearing pretty badly on the outer edge. I think I've got Federal winter tyres on the W204 at the moment. This is why you always loosen the wheel nuts off on the ground, because once it's in the air, you've got no way of stopping it. I need an ugga gun, or an electric impact, if you use real words. Oh, that's interesting. As well as the 5 lock lug nuts, you've got a little locating pin on this as well. I wonder what that's for. Right, and the wheel comes off. And just for double safety, I'll put a second stand under here. 2 stands and a jack. This thing, despite its immense weight, is going nowhere. While I'm under here, I can take an opportunity to examine the rest of the suspension and brakes. Well, there's a hell of a lip on this brake disc, so I probably want to be putting a new disc on it before too very long. The pads themselves are okay, so you shouldn't need to worry about that. That rubber just there is looking pretty tired, so I guess I'll be wanting to replace that one pretty much immediately. I expect the one on the other side is going to be exactly the same, so I'll check into getting a pair of those. I should be writing this down really. A bit of flaking paint, but nothing else to worry about. This looks pretty good, to be honest. And here's the hole, which I think I showed you in the previous video when I introduced the car. So that is a flat panel of thick grade steel. So I've bought some thick steel to go onto that. Underneath there was originally a drain hole, So I'm guessing water has gone up there and dirt has collected inside. Yeah, I can feel it inside there. So water has gone in through this drain hole, dirt and water has collected inside, and I can feel a lot of junk inside there. So I'll grind this mess out, clean out the stuff from inside there, and plate a new. In fact, oh look at that, it's been plated before. I didn't see that before. So this is the bit where the neighbours complain. At least they do if I turn the plug on. Take two. Okay, so that doesn't actually look too bad. I'll cut that into a squarer, neater hole, get all the crud out from inside the box section, and then plate in something nicer. I can't quite get the angle with an angle grinder, so I'm going in with the old air saw. I'm hoping this is a good enough blade to tackle metal as thick as that. That was seriously far harder than it had to be, because where it's been plated over, it's about 4mm thick, and that saw was really struggling with it. Well, I've just scooped out all of this from in there. I thought the GoPro was recording when I looked in a second ago, but I don't think it was. Because I've got a hole underneath the drain hole, I can use that with a screwdriver to push the back of this bit of cardboard up in there, while I'm marking out the template that I need to cut onto my new bit of metal. I'll just cut this a little oversize. It's better to cut it bigger than smaller, obviously. Measure once, cut twice, that's what I say, or something. Well, with my welding skills, it doesn't really matter because it's all going to explode anyway. I will fill this box section with some proper wax oily gubbins before I'm done. But while I'm here, I will put some anti-rust primer in there first of all, just to give it a fighting chance of not rotting out before I even finish welding it. Now the only steel I have which is anywhere near the right thickness, and I think this is pretty close, is unfortunately an L-shaped kind of semi-box section, so I've had to flatten it in the vise here, putting it in there and wrenching it tight. I did start doing a bit on the Rover V8 at the weekend, so while it was raining horribly I thought I'd put out a video of more progress on that. Unfortunately I couldn't find a bunch of the bolts, and then one of the bolt kits I'd bought off eBay didn't have enough of the right bolts in it, so that's waiting on a parcel to arrive, so I can move on with that one in the next couple of days as well. Now I had planned on trying to let this in and make exactly the right shape, but it's such thick metal it's really kind of awkward and fiddly to work with my meagre home tools, so I was going to go with plating over like the other guy in the past has. I've never welded anything this thick with this welder, so I've set everything up a bit higher, so we'll see what happens. Well, job done, kinda. It's not the greatest bit of welding you've ever seen, but it's actually very solid, and as far as I'm concerned, it's one of my better attempts at welding, so it's not going to fall off, and the car's relatively structural sound. 2 bits of good news, 2 bits of bad news. Good news is, A, that's done. B, I just spoke to Euro Car Parts, they can get these in there, £1.20 each, I think the guy said, or £1.40 or something on the trade counter. But bad news number 1, they're not going to be here for a few days, so I can't do that while the wheel's off. Bad news number 2, when I quickly ground off a bit of loose wax oil just to see how good that was, it turns out you can feel the back of the carpet, so this has just become a dry run for the Alpha. Not what I plan to do today. And here's that sound deadening. Can I peel it back far enough to find, oh boy, that's quite damp in there actually, surprisingly damp in fact. And there's the hole. There's the big box channel of the chassis leg just there. There's another plate of floor just there, and a third plate just there. And this is all actually this inner wing panel, which I guess is less structural, which is actually rotted. So I think what I'll do is I'll cut this out from the inside and plate it from the inside as well. I can see a pinhole just there. I can see a pinhole just there, so I think it's going to be quite a bit bigger than the actual hole you can see initially. I've put a big bit of metal here just to stop the sparks going too badly onto the foam. So as predicted, that is quite a bit more of a hole than I first saw. So yeah, I'll grind the underseal. I'll grind the underseal off now. I'm very much on fire watch on this kind of thing with the carpet underlay, all this underseal on the outside. If you are aware of the history of the rather nice ship called the Normandy, then you will also be rather cautious around sparks and anything that catches fire. And I don't want this to be a life-size scale of the Normandy lying on its side in my driveway on fire. So if I now just fiberglass over this cardboard template, it's fixed. I'm kidding. Right, so that magnet is now holding my beautiful template cut lump of steel in place. I'll go on the other side and start tacking it in. Well, that wound up being way more work and much longer than I anticipated doing. That one little quick plate there turned into a whole bunch more welding and taking the interior out, but not too bad. It's got some anti-rust primer on it, it's got some hammerite on it, and as soon as the hammerite's dried in a couple of hours, I will load that up with as much underseal as I can get in there, so it's not only like a future rust trap as well, and it kind of smooths over the repairs, so it's a bit more invisible. On the inside, it's got hammerite on the inside as well, and where it was kind of just dribbling and making a bit of rusty surface on the floor, I'm going to hoover that out once the paint's all dry and pour like hammerite in there to make that a solid lump of not rusting metal. One more really useful feature with this trolley jack, and I'll put a link down in the description because they are such a handy thing to have, so many cool features. You can pull the handle out of it once you've jacked it up, which meant that I was able to open the car door and weld on the inside without having to move the jack out from underneath the car. Where's my Ugga Dugga gun? Right, now this is up in the air and I've got the wheel bolted on again. Something I should have done first of all, quick wobble test to make sure this has got decent wheel bearings. And yeah, there's like no play in that at all. These are good wheels. Wheel bearings even. So that's particularly unpretty, but I have hoovered out and scraped out all the loose metal, loose rust, loose sound deadening, and just filled it with hammerite for the time being. No need to comment, I do know I need to get in there, lift the carpet out completely, and just check the entire floor just to make sure it's all rust proof for the future. But I will come back to this, I will revisit this before very very long even, because this front seat needs to come out because the heated seat on the passenger side isn't currently working, so I'm probably gonna have to take it out and check the wiring. So when that happens, I will lift the carpet out completely, wire brush the entire floor, hammerite it all in. But for the moment, this will do because I can see that bit and that looks like it's probably the worst. Now side two, let's check out what this wheel arch is like. I'm hoping there's a bit more solid metal under here. Do you know what, I think I really ought to go and give these wheel nuts a bit of a clean because they are quite horribly greasy. It's great they don't seize up, but I don't really want them unwinding on themselves if I'm driving, and also they're horrible to touch. Go! People have commented in previous videos that isn't it a real nerve-wracker that there's an open grate here I'm working next to cars? I don't think you can see that on here. Luckily it's silted up completely. I can see the nut, I just can't reach it. Let's go magnet fishing. Oh, I can't get through the grate because that's magnetic as well. Got it. Rescued it. Hurrah. Well, that was annoying, let's not do that again. Right, let's see how bad this really is. I don't know how clear that is to see, but you've got a repair panel just here, which feels pretty solid to be fair, but it's got a hole top and bottom, so I'm going to have to cut slightly larger than that. But first of all, I've got to take the carpet off the inside. Oh, I wish I'd taken that floor mat out before, because that is really, really wet. Well, it doesn't help that we've had several days, or several of the worst storms in living memory in the last couple of weeks, but this floor is absolutely soaking right now. So I'm glad I've pulled this up to let it give it a chance to dry out. This is a little bit Groundhog Day-ish, but I've cleaned this up. Got a nice key around here, taken most of the underseal off. I'm going to cut a butt into this edge here, plate over this edge here. Basically just the same as the other side, but pretty faster this time. I tried doing it from the inside before, I think it's going to be easier to do it from the outside this time. So now I'll just quickly douse this with rust-proof weld-through primer and cut out a bit of metal to fit. This is a very rough approximation of the shape because I'm plating over it rather than trying to fit it into the side. I'm just making sure I've got space to cover it over. So this is a little bit larger than the hole itself. I need to buy some more metal soon. This sheet has lasted me for years. I was repairing my Mark 1 MR2 with this many years ago. So I'm going quite fast now because I'm going to be doing school pickup in about 20 minutes, which is never the best way to be planning a car repair. Against the clock. So the welder got wet again. I had to quickly rush the camera indoors because it suddenly started chucking down with rain quite badly. So I carried on welding because I didn't have time to stop. Welder is still working, I hope. Plate is now on the side of the car. Once again, it's smooshed in kind of zinc rust-proof primer, a bunch of hammerite on both sides, and when that's all dried off, I will smother it in underseal to protect it and hide the fact I've not done the tidiest job in the world. And I admit I'm not the best welder in the world. I mean, realistically, I'm probably not even top 5, but it looks like a fairly strong job, and it'll stay on there, stop water flying into the footwell and soaking the carpet, which is what it has been doing, and mean the car will get through an MOT in a few days' time. Well, next month actually. Now, while the wheel was off, I forgot to point out and show you the brake disc on this side is exactly the same as the one on the other side, which is good because it means that they're working equally, neither one is binding. Bad because it means it's also pretty badly worn, so I'll probably have to change those brake discs at some point before too long. I'll probably get through the £500 challenge on them because there's no reason they shouldn't pass the MOT, but I think if I'm going to keep this car any longer than that, I will definitely change those discs. I looked at the anti-roll bar bush on this side. It's in much better condition than the one on the other side. It looks like it may have been done in recent or living memory kind of thing. So I'll buy them both, I think £1.40. So I'll have it with the car and see how easy it is to change. If it's doddle, I'll do them both. If it's a massive pain, I'll wait until it becomes necessary. Now, just double checking. Yeah, wheel bearings on this side, also good. Right, let's fix something that's not rusty now. Right, that's task number 1 completed. I've changed the interior light bulb using a packet that I found in the glove box. So £0 spent on repairs so far, and the car is already slightly better. So I'm now relaxing in the limo-like comfort and kind of burnt metal and hammerite smell of the Volvo. I planned for this to be a wide-ranging video showing lots of different fixes, starting with a quick job on the welding, then moving on to the electrical faults and anything else I found like the damp boot, and making it like quite a bang, 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 fast-paced, lots of stuff going on video. Unfortunately, I've just watched back the edit of everything I did today, and it's already a quarter of an hour long just fixing what was far more welding than I had actually anticipated. So I'm going to call it a day on this one and come back with all the other fixes in another video in a day or two's time. I didn't leave you hanging for more Volvo goodness. People were worried I might be breaking it from some of the comments. I think people were saying, like, I hope you're going to do something with that car. Well, obviously I'm going to do something with this car. I'm not going to sit here and let it rust or break it apart. Well, that'd be a stupid video series, wouldn't it? So thank you for watching. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, hit the bell notification if you want to see when the next installment comes out, and I will see you again next time in this car, or possibly the Rover V8 or the Alpha or something. But I'll see you again very soon. Thank you for watching. Please hit subscribe again. Bye.